Hi, I'm Noel from Inside Out Talent, and we look after various entertainment activities and represent artists and bands and performers. We work at festivals and corporate events, and one of the places we work is Butlins. And today we're joined by Mike Godolphin. He'll tell you a little bit about himself in a second. But the reason we're here is to talk about COVID-19 and the impact on the events industry. And we're drilling down and behind the scenes a little bit about how everyone is dealing with it on a personal level and different areas of the industry. So welcome, Mike. Thank you for joining us. Introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your role at Butlins and Bourne Leisure.
Well, hi Noel, thanks for having me. So as you say, I'm Mike Godolphin. I'm the entertainment director at Butlins. So Butlins is part of the Bourne Leisure Group. Not just Butlins, but Haven Holidays, Caravan Holidays, and our Warner Holiday, which is a sort of stately home, hotels discreetly attached for the mature market. So I guess Butlins is the biggest entertainment business out of those three. So 84 years old this year. And I think whichever part of history you can relate to Butlins, whether it's implied memories, your own memories, grandparents' memories, etc. I think the common factor, the common denominator of Butlins is that people come for entertainment. Family holidays is still Butlins' core business, but we also run 60 plus music events a year, so boutique music festivals. We have about 380,000 people attend those events and a collective audience of 1.4 million visitors a year. The music events range from sort of fun-loving, era-led events right the way through to some quite serious music events, right the way through to an arena program where we work with club brands like Cream, we work with Barry Hearn and Darts, we work with Madness as a band, etc., etc. So a whole suite of array of options in terms of the music events, and whether it's family or music, entertainment is at the heart of it. So clearly, with the coronavirus, lots to talk about of how that's impacted us on the entertainment front.
Yeah, you've been. I think for a while now you've been involved maybe with the government in recent days, even in the news about the rebuilding, which we'll get onto in a bit. But initially, when you first had to close, I think you were one of the first places that had to close. And how did that hit the sort of numbers of staff, and how were the staff looked after or not, or what were you able to do?
Yeah, so like a lot of businesses, Noel, when the country went into lockdown, we effectively closed. We've been closed since then. So since the 19th of March, we were just about to open for three different music events that weekend. We've been closed ever since. As a business, so under the Bourne Leisure banner, not just Butlins, we furloughed 16,000 team members, which is no mean feat. And all of our businesses remain closed up until a week ago, where we just reopened our Haven caravan parks. The great news is for us is that the majority or nearly all of those team that are furloughed will be back in the business. So the ones that won't be back will primarily be their choice. They've gone and done other things, gone and found other careers, or decided to take a different turn in life. But essentially, normally we would what we call staff up for our peak seasons in all three of our businesses. The consequence of coronavirus is we haven't had to staff up this year. So really, we've the teams that we had at the time we can bring back. We're slowly doing that, and we're hoping that pretty much all of those team will come back and continue their career with us.
So you are able to. Is there a sort of percentage of profit that you'll be losing out on them, because even if you're not bringing back the same number of staff, I imagine it's still a greater proportion compared to the number of guests that you'll have. And what's your capacity down to in terms of visitors to the park then as well?
Yeah, so when we're full, we can have about 19,000 people across our three resorts. So we'll be running with about 6,000 guests across the three resorts initially. We'll try and build towards maybe between 8,000 and 9,000 as we gain a bit of confidence and we gain a bit of understanding of how we operate in a new world. So as you can imagine, we're vastly reduced. It's not quite a pro rata relationship in terms of we drop the team by the same percentage. It doesn't quite work like that because we have a core need out of team. So it doesn't quite work as effectively as that, I guess. But yeah, so we'll be operating on vastly reduced numbers. Our venues will be vastly reduced, and we've had to adjust every part of the business, how we operate and how we go about doing things day to day, hour to hour.
Yeah, so that's the next thing, isn't it? So when you do open again, what, as you said, the entertainment side of it is a large part of what you do. I imagine the type of act is changing as well, and I think you'll be doing outdoor entertainment rather than indoor. What's it going to look like? What's the program going to look like?
Yeah, I think the best way to kind of describe that really is the journey that we've been on since closure. So I think like most businesses, when we went into lockdown, when our business closed down, our immediate focus was on cash flow. And as we sort of worked our way through that journey, we started to think about how we would reopen. And guidelines are changing all the time. The science is changing all the time. The advice is changing all the time. So we've only ever been able to work and plan with what we know at any one time. So our initial thinking was that we would be opening with an indoor-based experience. Butlins is primarily an indoor entertainment experience. So we were planning to reopen under that basis, and we did an awful lot of work. We've done a huge amount of work around the protocols that would be required, the additional investments that we would have to make. So to give you a sense of that, no, we've already invested over 100,000 into adjusting for indoor entertainment. So building extensions to our stage, brand new microphone systems, etc. So that we, at that time, thought we would be planning to, within the social distance and other guidelines that the government were going to issue, we thought we'd be well placed to reopen. Obviously, yeah, but we had to change our plans really, really quickly. So when indoor entertainment was cited as not permissible at the foreseeable future, we faced the decision: do we not open our business because that's why people come, or do we find a different way to do entertainment? So quite quickly we mobilised outdoor entertainment experiences. So we have two main outdoor stages to present our entertainment through the summer this year. One is I wouldn't say it's quite Glastonbury main stage, but it's a fairly decent main stage experience. Beyond that, we also have the big top circus tent, which we're allowed to operate with a roof on, but with no sides, because that still requires the relevant ventilation, gets classed as an outdoor venue. So we have a full program of entertainment across those two stages. And then indoors, we're showing some broadcast content of stuff that we're not able to deliver live. So some of our bigger production shows, we've brought those teams back into rehearsal already, and in a socially distanced way, and we filmed those shows. So those shows won't be live; they'll be as a broadcast piece of content.
Okay.
And we're going to add a little bit of Butlins flavour to that. So, for example, when we do our big pantomime productions, our dame will appear live behind a perspex screen, and we'll just kind of add value to the show. So at the top of the show in costume, and then midway through the show, perhaps giving a little bit of like, have you caught what's happened so far? He did this, she said that, kind of thing,
Like a live narrator sort of thing.
Almost a live narration, yeah. But, socially distanced and perfectly safe and long way from the audience. So, yeah, we're excited. It's challenged us, undoubtedly. But, it's also exciting too.
Yeah, well, that's great to hear. There's the creativity. And it's one of the positive things that's come out of this time is the people I'm talking to, there's loads of little bits of fun stuff and positive twists we can put on this in places. I imagine there's going to be a lot more of that needed in the next few months as things change by the day. I was saying each time I speak to you, I think something else has changed, and there's a few venues have shut today as we speak, and there was some of the drive-in events have been cancelled this week as well, which I think is more the live band scenarios. So hopefully that doesn't impact you. I think there's various reasons behind why those drive-in gigs may have been cancelled. I think maybe in your situation as an enclosed space with knowing your guests and all the people in attendance and stuff, maybe that won't hit you. Do you think that effect? I don't know if you know anything about the.
Yeah, I mean, I think we're all going to be subject to sort of regular changes in way the government behaves and advises. So I think there is always the risk that the towns that we're located in are subject to any kind of local lockdown. I think there is a change in the guidelines if more scientific evidence comes available. Our hope and our optimism is more placed that, as we learn more about coronavirus and we learn how to live with it and operate with it, I guess, in a business sense, is that, we will be able to add more and more value to our guest experience. I think you mentioned at the start, we've been talking to the government, so we're well placed to help them with some pilot schemes. So we're talking to them directly about piloting some indoor entertainment opportunities. One of the great benefits of our environment is that, we offer a very large array of content. So we have production shows, headline names, we have visiting artists that range from bands to vocal shows to dance shows to comedians to magicians to, the full suite. So, we're right across the entertainment spectrum. So, and we also have a very versatile venues. So, an ability for our venues to change shape in terms of the way that people are seated, the distances, the way that we can change our stages around. We're really, really agile in that sense. So we're really, really well placed to help the government get the information to help all the entertainment indoor industry get back on track, I think, and I'm keen to do that because not just for Butlins, but for the whole entertainment industry. It would be, amazing if in the not too distant future, accepting that under some sort of strict guidelines that we would be able to operate and deliver indoor entertainment again. So, we're keen, not just for us, but for everyone else to get the benefit from that.
So are you speaking with the government, maybe not you personally, I don't know, on a regular basis now? Is there a timeline in terms of when you're going to begin those kind of tests? And have they given you any outline of what you will and when you'll be able to do it?
Yeah, so I'm speaking direct with them, which is great. So no specific dates, but I think the hope is that we will get something in July. So I think that, the government are showing a willingness and a keenness to get together the evidence as quickly as possible. I think it's their goal to publish guidelines on how indoor entertainment can exist and what venues and what show producers will need to consider when thinking about doing entertainment indoors. So yeah, we've offered a suite of opportunities, and we're in healthy discussions about when that could happen, but no specific dates as yet.
Yeah. So what do you think? You mentioned earlier you'd already put in place, had spent a lot of money already on adapting the venues inside. Again, what will they kind of look like, do you think? What are your sort of layouts? You have a lot of seating in your venues anyway, don't you, I think?
Yeah, so I think, what we were able to do is think quite hard about a customer journey for us, so, thinking about some of those pinch points about, when I enter a venue, that's a potential pinch point when we're using the toilets, or, when I leave the venue at the end of a show. Those are all sort of front of house, and the way that the seating is positioned and socially distanced, etc. So they were all front of house issues that we thought about. And then there's the sort of backstage and onstage experience as well. So, thinking about dressing rooms and the space and the corridors and one-way systems backstage and the changeover of microphones. And, when you're running an experience like ours, when you can have up to 3 shows playing in the same venue each night and the turnarounds are pretty tight, is how do you make that work? How can you keep everybody safe? How do you keep your team safe? What PPE did we require? Was there enough room on our stages to run the quality of shows that we wanted to run? Grids on the stage so people could position themselves always 2 meters or 3 meters apart with vocalists. We installed new curtain tracks, so we created a bigger backstage run, etc. So we had a whole host of work we'd already done, which I think really helped us with the government positioning as well, because we were able to share that with them already. And alongside that, we created a sort of quite a strict protocols. So both for our team and for a visiting talent coming into our resorts.
I work with a lot of brass and some big sing-along acts. The two things that are going to be, again, the last things to probably materialise out of the other end of this. So obviously in that respect, in that area there's loads of musicians involved. I also like to work with bands with loads of members, and so the number of musicians and the people this affects. Do you know any sort of scale off the top of your head of the number of acts that you book a year, a month, or for a weekend? And then we can kind of work out how many performers that's going to affect. And over the time that you've been shut, the number of acts and individual musicians who would have been hit.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I think, out of all the industries, and then even within the entertainment industry, I think musicians feel particularly hard hit. So, I couldn't tell you exactly how many in that period, but we could probably make a good shot. So, we engage about 5,000 visiting artists a year. We have 350 team who are directly employed by us in entertainment, ranging from professional singers, dancers, musicians, street performers, right the way through to the technical support teams, etc. And annually we invest around £18.5 million into entertainment. So it's a fairly sizable investment, and it's a fairly sizable number of people that are engaged and benefit from that investment. I think if you took a snapshot and said that's 6 months of the year effectively that we're going to be shut, then you could argue that that's 2,000 to 2,500 people directly visiting artists that have been affected, and of course all our teams that, whilst they've been on the furlough and still being thankfully being paid 80% of their salary, they haven't had that direct contact and that I guess that fulfillment that they need from working in this industry.
And with yourself, it's not just music performers, is it? You've got theatre as well and performance.
Yeah, we're right across the spectrum. So, I mentioned earlier, we have big production shows right the way through to solos and duos and bands and, and as in our music festivals, we're working with a lot of, headline names. I guess, all of them have been hit by our cancellations and all the other cancellations that have been out there.
Have you, so all of these people we're talking about, the venues and artists, there's lots of campaigns going on. I don't know if you've been involved, and you're obviously aware of them. I don't know if you've been involved in any of the campaigns or keeping up to date with it all.
So we've been lobbying the government on not just the entertainment front, but also the tourism front, because ultimately at the heart of our business, we're a holiday business. Yeah. We just happen to be majoring in entertainment, and that's the rationale why people come. So we were lobbying on both counts, I guess. I've personally lent my support to lots of other campaigns that are out there. We haven't associated as a business with many of those. We're trying to fight a hardy battle, for British tourism and entertainment in general. But certainly on a personal level, I think it's really important. You need to recognise that people's livelihoods here are suffering. And at the moment, it feels a little bit sketchy at best about when they might be able to re-establish that livelihood.
So when it comes to the support from the government, the package that was announced, it was a week or so ago now, the 1.57 billion. Like you say, you're a holiday park, so is that in terms of the supporting entertainment, that doesn't reach you?
In fairness, no, we haven't explored whether it would or wouldn't. We're fortunate that we're able to reopen. All three of our businesses are opening in the month of July. Butlin specifically at the end of next week, July 24th. We didn't explore it. I think there's businesses that have greater need of that out there right now that don't face the prospect of opening in the immediate future.
Yeah, you sit somewhere in between, don't you? But it's the two industries that are mainly hit by this, and you're both of them. So.
Yeah, we are. We're fortunate that we have owners and investors that are prepared to make the right investments so that we can trade those businesses and give people hopefully a great holiday and secondly a great entertainment experience. So.
I'm trying to ask everybody some positive things, because sitting through 20 plus minutes of these it can be quite depressing. So you mentioned things that you'd sort of done creatively to adapt. Is there any more sort of good ideas or little advice or good stuff you've seen out there of how people have adapted, and the streaming stuff, or I don't know, ways within the park that you're going to develop on what you do just to help intrigue people and engage people a bit more?
All the innovation that we've gone through really has safety at heart. So I think, and that can sound a bit dull by nature, but I think you have to try and innovate within a sort of parameter of safety. So, I think we're trying to innovate with how we do indoor entertainment and not just make it a sort of a slightly more sterile, just a broadcast experience. We're trying really hard to adapt our content to be deliverable outdoors and then add even more value. I think where we have been innovative is in, making the environment safe, investing in the right things to give both your customers and your team peace of mind that the environment you're asking them to come into is a safe place to be, to enjoy entertainment or to perform entertainment. I think I applaud the innovation that's going on in the industry. I think, and you referenced drive-ins earlier, and, I think, whether some of those are working to what they expected them to or not, is, you have to applaud the innovation and some of the streaming that's going on. So I'm extremely envious in some ways of some of the innovation that I've seen and heard. So, hopefully some of the stuff that we've done, and when it comes to fruition, if it proves right, then we'll be happy to share that with anybody, so other people can benefit from the work that we've done.
Another positive has been bringing people closer together, maybe. Picking up the phone a bit more often, doing all these Zoom chats and stuff. I would imagine your team may have benefited in that way, that, knowing that they've got a job to come back to and looking forward to coming back, and I don't know what your interaction has been with your staff, and so that, again, the positives, keeping the staff buoyant and enthused to come back to work. I mean, I bet they're all enthused to come back to work, but what sort of positive twists can you put on that and sort of bringing people together during this time?
Yeah, so thank God for technology, because I think it's helped us all through this period. In fact, it's we've had a forced engagement with technology, haven't we? For sites like me, it's it was, gosh, the prospect of doing all my meetings through a screen was quite daunting in lots of ways. I'm a bit more traditionalist in rather, meeting people face to face and traveling around and doing that. So I think, what I've realized is how much time I save by getting the same outcome. And so I think, on a personal level, it's been great. I've been able to spend more time with thinking about the things that are the most important, and some of those aren't work related, with family and stuff as well. On the team front, it's been great. We've created a whole wellness program for our team. So we engaged with all our furloughed team, and we were doing regular events for them, so we were keeping them up to date with the business, but also doing regular fun things for them. So we were doing like sort of celebrity cooking challenges with some of our leaders in our business. We were doing mastermind challenges with some of the people, and people could tune in and watch them, and we were getting pretty regular high numbers of viewers, and we've done lots of things for their mental well-being, lots of stuff for their physical well-being, online fitness classes for them, and through our own Bourne leisure platforms. So we've had a really great way, and I think my team that are coming back into the business now, to a person, most of them are saying, my God, I didn't realize how much I love what I do, and it's really made me reflect and feel really I feel really lucky that I got the job I do and the business I work for. So so hopefully I think what will show in our business is that people have gone away, reflected, and sometimes you just need that time to reflect on, actually, what I do is really great, it's really enjoyable, I work in a great industry and a great business. So what we're hopeful is that people come back with a renewed energy and a sort of renewed passion for the business.
Yeah, that's great to hear. That's really good to hear, because I think that there's another case of the potential of people clambering to get back to the top after this. So all the good that's been done in terms of sticking together and supporting one another may dissipate quite quickly once the doors reopen. But I think in your situation, like I say, you have a core team there, and you've been bonding sort of throughout, and that has longevity, and it's great to hear the kind of stuff you're doing. So what do you think then, finally, I think what your ideal scenario maybe of what you think the time scale might be. You've obviously got a date of when you can start trialing and stuff, but when do you think you'll be open for entertainment at reduced capacity? And then the obviously unknown answer, when do you think all of this might be back to normal?
So, I can't give a timeline for us. We'd love to see an indoor entertainment available from September, because that would fit really nicely for the way our entertainment rolls. I think the wider challenge will be stage 5, which is, if you refer back to the government roadmap, stage 5 basically is indoor entertainment can exist without social distancing. And, as I say, I'm not a scientist and I'm not a medical officer, but my intuitive feel says that unless there's a vaccine or a robust treatment, it feels really difficult that social distancing will be removed anytime soon. And I think, for concert halls and theatres and all the other venues that operate indoors, I think we're all going to have to work with social distancing for a while. And as a consequence of that, that might preclude some events from happening. where part of the experience is being shoulder to shoulder with someone you don't know.
Yeah.
That might be difficult for the foreseeable future.
You said one of your spaces, a big top with open sides. So
yeah,
do you know what the capacity would be in there?
Yeah, so Circuses were given the green light alongside outdoor entertainment to be able to perform under a big top but with no sides. They have a capacity of 550 regardless of the tent size, so they can't operate with more than 550 people in them, and there has to be regular airflow monitoring so that in case you need to add additional mechanical ventilation. Yeah. So we're operating around 350 because of the size of our big tops. And we'll have circus, so we've got international circus. So, we've been really fortunate. So lots of our artists, and one of the ways we have innovated, lots of our artists have made a huge commitment to us this year. So from our circus artists right the way through to diversity have taken the decision to isolate as a household. So effectively, if you think about the circus, so we've got 14 artists all from all around the globe who've flown into the country 3 weeks ago, have been living together for that period of time. So they exist as a household. Wow. And they will continue to live as a household effectively for the duration of the summer period with us. And that's a huge commitment. And, we value that, we respect that. And we've had a number of artists that have been prepared to do that. So to enable them to be able to deliver non-socially distanced entertainment, they have, we set up some criteria in our protocols, and they said, actually, no, we'll do that. We'll come and, so we've got lots of people living with us throughout the summer because we're housing them, so it's a hell of a commitment. So we're able to deliver entertainment that's not socially distanced. And then alongside that, in our big top, we've adapted some of our stage-based production shows to be able to be delivered in a circus ring.
That's really good, I think, and they're things that you can use to promote what you do, and it's about building confidence and trust, isn't it, in the general public? When you hear that kind of news and what people are doing to make it safe, it gives you a lot more confidence to come and be a customer at establishments like yourselves.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. So the first barrier is to get through is, will me and my family be safe? And once you can convince them of that, then it's actually, am I going to have a good time? Is it not going to be so sterile that we're not going to enjoy it? Are we actually going to have a good time? And what you hope is that they go away and not only do we tell people that it's safe and it's great, but we're a business that's trying to sell holidays and entertainment, so we're likely to say that. Is what we want is our guests and our customers to go away and go, actually, Butlins was a really safe place, made me feel really safe, but why? We had a great time. We saw some great entertainment, we had great shows, we enjoyed the swimming pool, the fairground was still brilliant, and all these things are, are going to be operated in a way that we haven't operated them before, because we have to. That's the safe way to do it. But it doesn't mean they won't have a great time. So,
excellent. That's a good note to end on, I think. Thank you very much, Mike. It was,
you're very welcome, sir.
Really, really interesting, and I wish you all the best in your reopening, and sounds like everyone will have a good time, and the artists and guests alike.